There's a point in your life where silence becomes louder than noise. You start to realize that peace isn't just about quiet environments or meditation music. It's a state of strength. It's the ability to stay calm when everything around you is screaming for your attention, your reaction, your energy. The moment you stop reacting, the world shifts. And that's the moment people start noticing something different about you. They can't stand it because peace is power. Here's the truth: people get uncomfortable when you become grounded. When you stop participating in drama, when you don't chase approval, when you no longer explain yourself just to make someone else feel okay about misunderstanding you, that's when they start whispering. They don't know what to do with you because your calmness exposes their chaos. Your stillness reveals their noise, and deep down, that terrifies them. Because you've found something they haven't: self-control. When you live in peace, you're no longer playing by the same rules. Most people live in constant reaction mode. Someone criticizes them, they snap. Something doesn't go their way, they spiral. They let outside forces dictate their mood, their energy, their confidence. But when you're at peace, you've learned to pause before reacting. You've learned to breathe before responding. You've learned to choose how you show up. That kind of discipline is rare, and that's exactly why people who haven't done that work can't stand it. You've taken your power back. Let me tell you something that took me decades to learn: peace is not passive. Peace is a decision, it's active. It's built every day in the small choices you make: what you consume, who you let close, what you give your attention to, and what you walk away from. Every time you don't respond to something that used to trigger you, you're strengthening your peace. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're rewiring your brain for clarity. Every time you set a boundary, you're reinforcing the fact that your energy matters. That's what real growth looks like. Now, the reason people can't stand your peace isn't because you're doing something wrong. It's because your peace forces them to confront themselves. They can't manipulate you the way they used to. They can't get a reaction out of you. They can't feed off your energy. And so instead of doing their own work, they'll try to pull you back into the chaos. They'll poke, they'll gossip, they'll test your limits. And you have to understand that's not about you. That's about them. Your peace is the mirror reflecting their lack of it. Let's be real: the moment you start protecting your peace, people will call you cold, distant, or selfish. They'll say, "You've changed." And you know what? They're right. You've changed because you've healed. You've changed because you're no longer operating from wins that need validation. You've changed because you've stopped apologizing for needing space, silence, and clarity. You've changed because you finally realized you deserve a life that doesn't drain you. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. There's a difference between being nice and being peaceful. Being nice often means people-pleasing, overextending, staying quiet when you should speak up. Peace doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you choose your battles wisely. It means you understand that not every situation deserves your energy. You learn that your reaction is your superpower. And when you control it, you control the room. When everyone else is losing it, your peace is the calm center that others secretly wish they had. And here's the thing about peace: it's contagious. When you walk into a room calm and grounded, people feel it. They may not like it, but they feel it. Your peace challenges their anxiety. It disrupts their chaos. It forces them to notice that there's another way to live, and that realization can be uncomfortable. That's why some people will distance themselves from you, not because they hate you, but because your peace makes them question why they still live in emotional noise. And questioning that is painful. Change always starts with discomfort. So, what does it take to get here? It takes work. It takes the willingness to sit with yourself, to face your thoughts, your fears, your patterns. It takes saying no when it's easier to say yes. It takes walking away from conversations that go nowhere. It takes forgiving people who never apologize, not for them, but for your own freedom. It takes discipline, because peace without boundaries is just a fantasy. You can't have peace if you keep letting everything and everyone invade your mental space. You want to know why your peace bothers people? Because you're no longer emotionally available for nonsense. You don't feed arguments, you don't chase closure, you don't play the same old games, you respond differently now, and that difference is unsettling. People who thrive on drama need your reaction to validate their existence. When you stop giving it to them, they lose control. And that's when you'll hear things like, "You think you're better than us." No, you don't think you're better, you're just finally better at protecting your energy. We live in a world that celebrates noise, constant opinions, endless comparisons, nonstop stimulation. Peace, in contrast, looks boring. It's quiet, it's steady, it's not flashy, but that's what makes it powerful. Because peace isn't about escaping the world, it's about mastering yourself within it. When you can sit in silence and not feel lonely, when you can walk away from conflict without needing to be right, when you can rest without guilt, that's freedom. That's peace. And once you taste that, you'll never trade it again for validation. Let's be honest, your peace will cost you. It will cost you people habits, old versions of yourself. It will cost you the comfort of fitting in. But what you get in return is clarity. You'll know who's meant to stay and who's not. You'll see that you don't need a crowd. You need alignment. You'll stop chasing attention and start valuing intention. You'll realize that peace is not found, it's built. Brick by brick, boundary by boundary, breath by breath. When you start living like this, your priorities change. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault. You stop trying to convince people to see your worth. You simply move differently. You act, you adjust, you evolve, and your silence becomes louder than your explanations ever could. That's what real confidence looks like. It's not arrogance, it's self-assurance. You've stopped needing to prove yourself because you know who you are, and that makes some people very uncomfortable. Think about it. When someone's peace is unshakable, it exposes the fragility of others. When you don't react, they can't control you. When you don't explain, they can't manipulate the narrative. When you don't argue, they can't feed their ego. So they'll do everything they can to get a rise out of you. But here's the trick: the moment you recognize that game, you've already won. Because now you see it for what it is, a distraction. Every time you stay calm in a storm, you're reminding yourself that your peace isn't for sale. Every time you don't respond to negativity, you're investing in your future self. Every time you choose to walk away, you're training your mind to prioritize long-term peace over short-term satisfaction. That's the kind of strength that doesn't make noise. It's quiet, consistent, powerful. And let's talk about self-peace, because that's where it all begins. You can't have outer peace without inner peace. You can't stay calm in chaos if you're constantly battling yourself inside. The real war isn't out there, it's in your mind. It's between who you are and who you're becoming. It's between your old habits and your new standards. It's between your fear and your faith. And until you confront that, the outside world will always have the power to disturb you. Inner peace is built when you learn to trust yourself again, when you stop second-guessing every decision and start listening to your intuition. Here's what most people don't understand: your peace isn't just emotional, it's strategic. It allows you to think clearly, act wisely, and move efficiently. Chaos drains your creativity, peace fuels it. Chaos clouds your judgment, peace sharpens it. Chaos burns energy, peace restores it. When you're at peace, you become unstoppable, not because you're louder, but because you're laser focused. You start seeing solutions where others see problems. You stop reacting and start responding. That's how you win in life, not through noise, but through calm consistency. But remember, peace doesn't mean you don't feel anger, frustration, or pain. It means you don't let those emotions drive the car. You feel them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. You don't suppress your feelings, you process them, because unprocessed pain becomes chaos. The more you understand yourself, the less power the outside world is over you. And that's when you become truly dangerous in the best way possible. People who haven't done this inner work won't get it. They'll project. They'll try to label your peace as arrogance. They'll try to provoke you, but your only job is to stay grounded. You don't owe anyone a reaction, you owe yourself stability. Let them misunderstand you, clarity is your reward. Let them talk, silence is your strength. Let them walk away, alignment is your protection. You have to remember, peace is not weakness. It's not avoidance. It's not giving up. It's mastery. It's knowing when to engage and when to let go. It's knowing that not everything needs a response. It's choosing your energy like you choose your outfit, intentionally. It's understanding that calm is a form of power that can't be faked. Anyone can act loud. Anyone can argue. But staying centered when life shakes you, that's elite emotional fitness. And once you reach that place, your world transforms. You start attracting different people, those who match your energy instead of draining it. You start creating instead of competing. You start thriving instead of surviving. You stop explaining your peace, and you start living it. And guess what? Those same people who couldn't stand your peace will eventually respect it, or they'll disappear. Either way, you win. So if you're on that journey right now, if you're losing people, if you're walking away from chaos, if you're craving silence more than stimulation, understand this: you're evolving. You're not cold, you're healing. You're not distant, you're discerning. You're not boring, you're balanced. You've simply reached a stage where peace feels better than attention, clarity feels better than validation, and solitude feels better than fake company. That's what growth feels like. Don't chase peace, embody it. Don't demand respect, demonstrate it through calm confidence. Don't explain your transformation, let your silence speak. Keep showing up grounded, clear, and kind, but firm. Protect that peace like it's sacred, because it is. It's the foundation of everything: your focus, your relationships, your health, your purpose. They can't stand your peace because they haven't found theirs. But one day they might. And when they do, they'll remember you. not for your words, but for your energy, for the way you stayed calm when everyone else was losing it, for the way you walked away instead of fighting, for the way you chose grace over ego. That's your legacy. That's real strength. So stay peaceful, stay grounded, stay kind, but above all, stay untouchable. Because when your peace becomes your priority, you stop living for the world and start living from within. And that's when you become unstoppable.
They don't hate you because you're loud. They hate you because you got quiet. And they couldn't control what your silence meant. Let me tell you the truth. Your peace makes people uncomfortable because it exposes their chaos. You don't argue anymore. You don't react. You don't explain. And to them, that silence is violence. They can't stand it because they can't reach you anymore. You used to give them easy access, front row seats to your emotions. Now they're stuck outside your peace, banging on a door you no longer open. You've become unreachable. And that's power. When you stop reacting, people panic. They don't panic because you're gone. They panic because they no longer have control over the story they told themselves about you. You were once their favorite emotional punching bag, their personal audience, their predictable storm. You used to respond with rage, tears, desperation, and they fed on that. It gave them relevance, made them feel powerful, kept them in the center of your universe. But the second you stopped giving them emotional access, you flipped the script. That quiet you stepped into, that wasn't weakness. That was war. A war they couldn't fight anymore. Because you were no longer showing up to lose. Your peace is not just an absence of noise. It's the presence of strength. The kind of strength they don't understand because they've never known what it means to stand alone without needing to be loud. You began to communicate through boundaries, not words. You stopped defending yourself. You stopped explaining what hurt you. You stopped participating in the game they kept trying to play. That silence you hold, it's the loudest thing in the room now, and it rattles the cages of every person who used to get high off your emotional reactions. You have to understand something deep and uncomfortable. Some people were only close to you because they knew how to trigger you. They weren't around because they loved you. They were around because they knew how to light a fire inside you and then sit back and watch the explosion. But now you're cold. You're calm, you're quiet, and it scares the hell out of them because now they don't know how to read you. They don't know how to manipulate you. They don't know where they stand in your life anymore. And the truth is, they don't stand anywhere because peace put you on a level where access requires character, not chaos. When you stopped reacting, they lost their leverage. You didn't give them what they were expecting. And people fear what they can't control. They don't miss you. They miss who they were when they had influence over your mind. They miss the power they felt when they could get under your skin. But now, you've outgrown your triggers. You've outgrown your need to prove anything. And you've outgrown the people who only loved you when you were small enough to manage. That new energy you're carrying, calm, clear, unfazed, that's what disturbs their spirit. Because it tells the world, you've leveled up. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've changed. Let them say you're distant. What they really mean is you no longer serve the version of themselves that needed you broken. Your peace broke their illusion. Your peace interrupted the supply. Your peace said, I don't need to fight anymore. I've already won. They don't understand that peace is a weapon too, but only warriors who've been through hell can wield it. You're no longer accessible to people who require you to be in pain to feel significant. That's why they keep poking at you, trying to get a reaction. That's why they gossip, why they provoke, why they bring up the past. They're testing to see if the old you is still in there. But she's not. He's not. That version of you, naive, easily provoked, constantly explaining themselves, was buried in the silence. And now, every time they try to get to you and fail, they realize something terrifying. You're not broken. You're just done. They can't stand your peace because it takes away their ability to paint you as the problem. You've stepped into stillness, into boundaries, into emotional clarity, and in doing so, you took away their favorite weapon, your own self-doubt. See, before you healed, they could count on you second-guessing yourself. They could count on your kindness being used against you. They could count on you feeling guilty just for existing differently. But now you trust your gut, you trust your energy, and you don't chase anyone for clarity. You are the clarity. They don't know how to respond to that because peace doesn't fight. Peace doesn't argue. Peace doesn't beg. Peace just walks away and never looks back. And the most terrifying thing for someone who thrives on drama is being met with indifference. Your indifference is louder than your old anger ever was. It tells them you've detached. It tells them you've healed in silence. It tells them they no longer live rent-free in your mind. And that's the scariest eviction notice anyone can receive. You didn't go ghost, you went sacred. You didn't disappear, you just disconnected from everything that no longer aligned with your growth. They didn't lose access to you because you're cruel. They lost access to you because they were careless. And now they're stuck in a place where your name still lives in their mouth, but your energy is nowhere near their life. You're not talking about them. You're not thinking about them. You're not retaliating. You're rising. And the altitude of your peace is suffocating to people who can't breathe, unless you're drowning. This is what happens when you heal. You stop dancing with dysfunction. You stop explaining your worth. You stop trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop showing up to battles you already won. Your presence becomes expensive. Your time becomes sacred. Your space becomes protected. And suddenly, the people who once had all of you can't even reach parts of you anymore. Not because you're being petty, but because you finally understand that peace is not a place you find, it's a place you build, brick by brick, breath by breath, boundary by boundary.